of the Empire State Building.
Z100, New York.
Hey, it's Danielle. It's Z100, and it is International Women's Day. And if you were here last year, we did a show similar to this where some of the ladies that you hear every single day, we sat around, we chatted about what it means to be a woman, maybe some of the challenges that we've had, some of the really cool accomplishments that we have. I mean, just the fact that we're all here on Z100, the greatest radio station in the world, means a lot. So Gandhi is here with us.
Hello.
Crystal Rosas is here with us.
Hi.
Shelly Rome is here with us.
Hello.
And we're going to get into it again. This year, actually, there is a theme to International Women's Day, which I actually had no idea about until the other day.
Is it boobs?
It's not boobs. Although,
BBLs.
It could be boobs, but it's actually called Embrace Equity. Now, everybody knows that equality means each individual or group of people is given the same resources, the same opportunities. But equity means that every person has a different circumstance. So even if you're given the same exact thing like that, it doesn't mean your circumstance is the same. So the example that I wrote down was equality is giving everyone a shoe. Equity is giving everybody a shoe that fits, which totally makes sense if you think about it. So in your guys' everyday, have you ever experienced or witnessed the difference between equality and equity in your lives or maybe somebody else's life?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we're starting to see that shift a little bit here in the radio industry or in entertainment in general. Because, yes, there have been women around the business for a long time, but were they in positions of power?
Nope.
Were they in positions to have a microphone in front of their face? And were they in positions, if they had a microphone in front of their face, that they were able to speak their mind and say how they felt? Because mostly, when you talk about morning shows, which is all we really know, it's two guys and one girl.
Mm-hmm.
We are in a place where it's two women and one man. And Elvis has given us a lot more equity in the field than just equality, which is great. And I know that doesn't exist everywhere. So as I say, it's changing. I'm also very aware that it needs to change a whole lot more.
Right. Plus we have like Sam and we have Deanna and Allie and we have Diamond and we have so many women on the show, and Elvis thankfully uses them in different capacities and makes them, very important parts of the show.
Absolutely.
I mean, I really love the fact that you're hitting on equity, and this is the theme, because we have women that have started from the bottom in our industry. They'll go against men that also started from the bottom.
Yeah.
But when you put them side by side, for some reason, it's the guy on the board, or it's the guy that's going to take the lead. Let's put the numbers aside from what the women have been able to achieve. And that's been pretty tough and frustrating for a lot of us. It feels like no matter what we do, we always have to run and sprint just a little bit harder to take it serious. We'll be in a position where we're at a remote or somewhere new, and people automatically look at the guy of the partnership or the group to answer questions.
Yeah, like little lady, you don't need to talk.
Yeah.
Just be quiet, little lady.
You just laugh along. Oh, I want to kill people when they say that. Are you kidding me?
Exactly. And it's really tough. And I feel like you hear us women complain about it a lot, but it's because, fellas, y'all really just, it's not your life. You don't live it every day, and we're the ones that do. So you hear us, but it's our everyday struggle.
Yeah. I think it's really cool to be at a station, like Gandhi said in the beginning, that is becoming more aware of the importance of equity, obviously with you guys on the morning show. But then, like, my favorite thing that's happened here the past couple of years is bringing on Crystal to do afternoons side by side with a male co-host. And I don't mean to like focus on Crystal, but I just love, when have we seen a woman in afternoons on Z100? I don't know that it's ever happened. Maybe I'm wrong thinking about it.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So it's exciting to see that they're understanding the value of having that female voice in earlier day parts. That's really exciting to me. So I think, Crystal, you sort of blazing that trail is pretty cool.
Thank you so
much.
And can we all just kind of chuckle about something? We all know our demos, right? Shelly, what's your demo? Your target demo, I
want to say, 20-something to 40-something. Am I right?
Yeah. I don't know. So I was asking you.
Honestly, I feel like I hear different things every day.
Yes.
Like our target demo, like is what you said, or, well, we're going to go a little bit younger now, 14 to 25.
Right.
What? And then it's crazy.
Because you hit your bonus. It's because you hit your bonus.
So they're trying to scoot you away.
Yeah.
Is that what happens?
As a matter of fact. So one of the things that has always stood out to me as fascinating is that as far as I've been on a morning show in Top 40 Radio, our target demo has always been women between the ages of 18 and 54. Big spread, all women. We until recently, until I really came here, we are programmed by men. They choose the music. They run the stations. There are two of them on the morning show talking to us, telling us, this is what you like. This is what you want. This is how we think you need to be cool. And it used to grind my gears so badly because I'd be like, how is this old dude telling me what I like and what my friends like? It's bonkers that that's the way that it was, and people just accepted it for so long. And we're finally at a place where people are starting to say, maybe I want to hear from the girl around my age what it is that we actually care about.
Right.
Absolutely. And I love that people are speaking up about it and they're voicing their opinions and they're showing people in management who happen to be men like, no, we don't want to hear from you.
Yes.
We want to hear from these. Even when we get prep, right?
Yeah.
You know, prep is sort of where they give you sort of topics and ideas what to talk about on the show. A lot of it makes me cringe because it's written from a male perspective. And I'm like, no. We need to change this. We need more women writers, you know, more women telling stories from our perspective.
Back to the demographic, for us, for the afternoons, it's 18 to 34 women, and majority of our listeners are Latinas. So I'm so excited that I literally fit in that category. And sometimes I have people around me when I'm pitching ideas or topics arguing with me about what I think our listeners should be hearing and topics. And I'm just like, I'm literally a demographic.
Yeah.
How are you arguing with me about this?
That's why I like on the morning show that I feel like there's a little bit of something for everyone because we're all different ages. So if we're going to do a topic for a younger, you know, skewed younger, Elvis will bring in like the younger people and he'll ask the question. Or, you know, he won't just go, like you said, with the guy perspective or, you know, mansplaining, stuff like that. Never, which is awesome. And I think, unfortunately, it's not like that everywhere. We're very lucky that it's like that here, you know?
Thank you,
is.
Z100.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
I don't work with Elvis, but I definitely appreciate him for all that he's doing for women. It's really cool.
You know, I do have to say, we all started really young, right? Like in our teens.
yeah, I'm still in my teens. I don't know about you people.
On the promo team and things like that. And starting, I think one of the first times I was on air, as the mic turned off and I walked away, they made like a comment about my butt.
Oh.
And that kind of made me feel like, is that my value? Like how thick I am in the back? And I'd never felt that way before. That would not fly now. And that's the difference that I see. You know, sure, it was a joke. It was lighthearted and I get it. But I was 19.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't even like that, you know? So it definitely made me feel a type of way. But I'm very, very thankful that now everyone has each other in check, and someone will call out a comment like that.
Oh yeah,
you don't say things like that anymore.
No. You mean you watch TV now, and you watch shows that were out like years ago, and you go, oh my gosh, they could never say that now. Like how could they have said that then? They can't get away with that.
It's true.
It's crazy.
I do have to add though, in San Francisco, the market that I started, our program director, I have to give a hand to Mark Adams because he was really a visionary in copying the demographic to the talent. He was one of the first PDs in the entire iHeart company that was like, you know what, I'm going to put women in every single time slot. So other than the morning show, we had middays ran by a woman, Trini Gonzalez, afternoon, Gabby Diaz, and then me at nights. And no other market, even to now, has like a full woman other than the morning show. We still have a long way to go there, but lineup. So seeing that, actually a lot of markets around the country have been implementing that, like women lead on the mic. Let's have the demo match the talent. Yeah. And I'm so thankful that I have worked with someone like that. And he's still a really close mentor of mine. So
that's awesome. What do you guys think of girl bosses? Like if someone was to say to you, oh, she's a girl boss. Like that's what I'm saying. Can we just say bosses? Like why do we have to say girl boss?
I think when you think of girl boss, you have to really break down whether or not you would ever hear somebody say boy boss.
Ooh,
and boy boss is ridiculous, which is just as ridiculous as girl boss. And I think when that term like sort of came to be, it was like we had to find a way to make it marketable. We had to find a way to make it accessible. How can we, it's like almost a trend. And this girl is doing everything and she's doing it in heels with lipstick and really straight, you know, done hair. And that's just not reality. And it's sort of, it like diminishes the idea of men and women being able to do the same job, be in the same positions and not having to like give a justification for it or just make it accessible and make it easier for people to swallow. And I think I'm so glad that we're all rolling our eyes at that term because it's ridiculous.
I hate it so much. I actually, every time I hear the term girl boss, I think about like that person that I went to high school with who has fallen victim to like a Facebook MLM scheme or like a pyramid scheme.
Oh my God.
And they're like, I am the boss. Hashtag girl boss. Like, oh, I hate it. I hate girl boss so much. It's just boss. Just
They
do the
still
boss
have it
thing.
in stores. Like sometimes if you go to like a store, you can get like a little plate, a nameplate for your desk that says "Girl Boss." And every time I see it, I go, "Why do we
It's
need that?"
It's like it's almost, it's the exception and not the rule or not the norm. Like, guys, bosses, man, woman, who cares what kind of parts you have? If you're a boss, you're a boss.
Right.
Exactly. If you're kick-ass, you're kick-ass.
Exactly. And if you're not a boss, that's okay too.
That's true. I think you really hit it on point with that, saying that at first we really did need to emphasize that because it wasn't. I mean, whenever you think of like for a long time, boss, doctor, these leading names, your brain, we were all so accustomed to thinking male, male, male. And now that we've definitely evolved the whole like woman empowerment movement and us just stating our grounds of who we are, again, like we just all agree, like we don't really need to put a gender label on it.
To touch on, I liked what you touched on, just sort of like when you think of doctors, you automatically, our unconscious bias is to think, well, I'm sure it's a man, like
Professor.
or professor or fireman, businessman. And, or when you're even talking about, let's go back to a doctor and you're talking about them in third person and you're like, so he probably, our mind automatically goes there. And so I think that, for us or for me, it's just to be more aware of like, well, why am I assuming that all the time? Because that's sort of what's been ingrained in us for so long. It's like a societal thing, So I think that's important.
All right, let's talk about being an ally at work. I know we're very, very lucky that we have women that support each other. So in what ways do you feel you support other women? And are there ways that you think people should be supporting you that they're not?
I think this is a really interesting, tough question, because I think it's really important if somebody is qualified at what they do, if they're good at what they do, and they come into the business place, workplace, whatever, you should invite them with open arms. I don't think you just have to blanket statement, accept and embrace every single person that comes through.
Yeah.
Especially, I don't think we should be placing people in positions if they're not qualified. I think we should be training. I think we should be working on things. But a lot of times, they'll be like, oh, how dare you? Women support women. That just needs to happen all the time. And it should, if people are good at what they do. If they're not great at what they do, you should be willing to mentor and teach. Absolutely. But you shouldn't just blindly clap for people all the time, no matter what, because in the long run, that actually puts us at a disadvantage. And I say this when it comes to color relations as well, race relations. You don't just put me in a place because I'm a brown-skinned person. That's not what I want, and that's not what most brown-skinned people want. We want to get there because we earned it, not because, hey, this is what I look like.
Right.
And when you start to put people in positions just because they are a woman, just because they are a woman of color or of color in general, it really does a disservice if it's not up to par of everybody else. And I think that the way to kind of like embrace and support each other is to just say to some people, if they need help, like, hey, let me help you here.
Yeah.
Not just let me blindly clap and act like everything's good all the time, because you're not really actually helping anybody out when you do that.
But I also think you should help them, like you were saying.
Of course.
Because I feel like a lot of places, a woman would sabotage another woman. She'd see that she needs help, and instead of helping her, she was just like, let her fail.
That's trash.
Which is terrible.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we don't do that around here, but there are places that happens all the time.
Absolutely. I mean, I definitely agree with what Gandhi's saying. I think we have to be really authentic in just the way we communicate with each other, hold women accountable, just as the men are going to be holding us accountable. But I also think, I think something really important is active listening. And I've really been trying to practice that, because a lot of times... right. Like a lot of times there are, even using Gandhi's example, somebody comes in and, you immediately have these worries and fears, because for whatever societal reasons, there can't be two women at a radio station. There can't be two women on a show. We always have to be competing against each other. Jealousy rears its ugly head. But I really, really believe that embracing each other and really letting them know that I'm listening, I'm here for you, we can talk. I think it's really important, and it makes such a difference, because you push me, I push you, you push me, and I think it's nice to celebrate each other and really be there for each other. I think that's so important. And Danielle, you kind of set the tone here.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm sorry, but
don't make me cry.
no,
please.
stop.
I've cried enough today. Ask Gandhi.
Oh well,
happy
I
tears,
can't.
happy
I can't promise I won't. But when I first was an intern here 100 million years ago, there were a lot of people who didn't practice that kind of stuff, and I walked into your studio every time. You were embracing, you allowed me to ask questions. You were always so kind and so open, because I feel like you felt secure in your position. And I think it really showed. And even today, like, I'll get an Instagram comment from Danielle being like, so then I'm like, she doesn't understand how much that means, but I can't like comment every time she does, because she's going to think I'm like a weirdo. But that kind of stuff really makes a difference. So I appreciate you for sort of like setting that tone and that example.
That means a lot to me. I have always thought that there is something, I always say it, something for everyone, or enough to go around.
Yeah.
Like, not everyone's going to love me. Not everyone's going to love Gandhi. Not everyone's going to love you, but somebody will, you know, and, you know, I'll be the cup of tea for somebody, you know, and I just feel like if we don't support each other, if I don't have your back, I want, what is that? I mean, I want to be secure in who I am, and I want to see other women succeed. I get excited, like Carla Marie, who used to work here. When I see her out there she works for the friggin' Seattle Seahawks right now, and she's out there on the field. You know, she's the girl. I'm like, oh my gosh, I get so excited for her, because she is doing it. She is making it, and I wish I could like have an organization where I backed more women and got more women out there to do really cool things, because I just think that there's enough to go around. And I also think that if you're so jealous of someone, that there's something you need to look inside of yourself and fix something or change something, because you shouldn't be. You're a wonderful person. You're a talented person. You can do whatever you set your mind to do. And that's so important.
Yeah, also just paving the way really paves the way for us. Like Carla Marie going out there and showing us how to do something different really gives us a way to follow in her footsteps. And I think that's powerful.
Absolutely. And to your point, what you were saying about Danielle is the reason, one of the reasons that I'm here. I know that for a fact.
Well, because I told them if they didn't hire her, I was leaving.
Well,
Not
also,
exactly, but
like,
you know.
So Crystal wasn't here when I started, but Shelly, you were here when I started, and you were super nice about everything too. And I was like, is everyone around here like this?
Yes. She
This
didn't
is
believe
crazy.
it. She was like, there's something wrong, because people are too nice around here.
I said, you guys are trying to steal my kidneys, and I know it. You're trying to lull me into a place of trust, and you're going to take my organs.
Yes.
I don't trust it, but you were very kind, and it's just really nice to like walk into a place where people are welcoming and not shutting the door on you. Like, who are you, new person? Get out of here. It's great.
Crystal did something to me the other day, actually. She called me and thanked me for something that I did for her. And you didn't have to do that. And I was just like, oh, that's so nice. Like that. Like, it made me feel like so good, because not everybody would have done that.
Well, Danielle, it really goes back to what Shelly said about security. You know, starting off when we were all young in this industry, we all were pretty insecure about different things, or we were the most confident, but it was outside factors that either made us more secure or more insecure. And I came from a place where I was really insecure coming in here to Z100. Like, I felt like I always had daggers trying to stab me and take me down no matter what I tried to do. And Gandhi, like you said, when I came here to Z100, and Shelly, you with open arms were just so sweet to me. And then Danielle, and then Gandhi. I'm just like, is this Disney? Is this
This is Disney World.
This is better than a dream come true, because I came into an environment where all you guys did was put in your hard work, and you were such in a secure place where you didn't feel the need to throw daggers at me. And Danielle has been put in positions where a brand will start wanting to work with me, but then obviously they'll see Danielle and be like, nah, we want to work with Danielle. And Danielle is now calling our salespeople like, I don't feel right about this. I'm not going to take anything away from Crystal.
She always does that.
So
It's
I'm
crazy.
not going to go through with this if it's taking anything away from Crystal. And I came from a place where no one would even bat an eye about that, Danielle. And that's why I was so inclined to call you and thank you personally, because of just the woman that you are, and that you pull everyone else up, and you
Oh
just
my gosh, you
carelessly-
people. You didn't make me cry, honestly.
carelessly
Thank you.
will give other people shine and love and things you think they deserve in front of your own. And
Thank you.
that's how it should
It should be.
be.
Yeah. I thank my mom for
karma.
that. My mom's like,
Wow.
that's how my mom always is. My mom always told me, because I wanted to be like, do theater and stuff. She goes, you're not going to make it. I was like, and I go, why? She goes, because you're not going to backstab people. And she's right. Like, I could never see myself backstabbing someone for a part or for, that's just not me. That's just, but I think I'm also very old school too. Like, you know, I just have this old school mentality where I just think everyone should be nice to each other. I don't know. I mean, can I be a bitch? Of course I can be a bitch. Ask my husband. But I mean, for the most part, I try to be a nice person.
I think there's a difference, and I have to learn this, and I'm still like learning this and dealing with this. There's a difference between being nice and setting boundaries. There's a difference between being nice and having self-worth and value and understanding what you bring to the table, because being nice is very important. Being kind to people, treating people with respect. Empathy plays a big part in that. I treat you the way I want to be treated. Right. But at the same time, it can exist with, again, setting boundaries. I'll give a perfect example that just happened 30 minutes ago which I loved. I walked into the studio. Gandhi was editing something. Danielle and I were talking, and she said, "Hey guys," very just direct. "Hey, I'm trying to edit this audio. Can you take the conversation outside?" Point blank, period. She was doing something and we were getting in the way. And I was like,
I'm always in the way.
but I'm just saying so somebody could be like, "Oh, Gandhi's so rude. She's like such a witch with the B," but that she needed that time. We were about to start, doing something else. And so I totally respected that. And I just think that there is a difference between, again, setting boundaries and being kind. Because being kind is not going to get you the job. As much as you're like, I'm going to people please and I'm going to make everyone like me, that's not going to get you anywhere.
It's funny you say that, because I remember having a conversation with my husband a long time ago. And there was somebody that I was dealing with that didn't, I tried to bend over backwards to get them to like me. And I was like, and then my husband's the one that said, "Listen, not everybody's going to like you, and that's fine. You don't have to. You've done everything you could. You should be proud of the fact that you tried your best, and that's it." He's like, "Stop bending over backwards, because it's not going to work, and you're better than that." And so that actually was me going, I had to sit down for a minute and go, shoot, he's 100% right. And then I stopped. I said, I'm going to be me, but I'm not going to keep going over the top to try to get that person to like me, because at that point, it's like, what are you going to do?
Because you have to like you. And if you bend too much, you're going to be like, I don't really like myself all that much. And to be honest, Shelly and Danielle, when I said that for a second, I was like, ooh, I feel like that came off kind of bitchy. But nobody reacted poorly to it. So I was
fine.
like, okay, good, we're good. But I look at niceness and kindness, all of that, as an oxygen mask, where when it drops down, you're supposed to put it on yourself first and take care of yourself first. So you have to be kind to yourself first. And that does involve boundaries. And that does involve, I could have just waited and not gotten the edit done and taken it home and done it later. But that's not kind to myself. Whereas if a conversation can just be taken outside a door, that is kind to myself and is not being bad to anybody else. So I think, to your point, Shelly, the niceness and the kindness is important. But you have to be nice and kind to yourself with those boundaries.
I think that's where the word no comes in. I think we actually talked about this last year,
did.
how a lot of us just started to learn the word no, and whether or not, it was okay, because a lot of us felt guilty, like, oh, they want me to do this and I really can't, or it's not good for my mental state, I need a break, but I'm going to say yes. And I think we all said last year that we were going to practice the word no. Have you practiced the word no, and how has it been going?
It's back to the equity topic, because again, we feel like if we say no, then here comes the next person that's going to say yes. And we've worked so hard to be the women on these microphones that if we do say no, we're afraid that something else or someone else is going to take our spot. I think I've said more yes than I have said no's, but this conversation again has made me take a step back and realize that I can put up with my boundaries. I think in social settings, like going out and a birthday, I think I've been able to say no a lot more for balancing. But I think at work, it's still really tough for me to say no for things.
When it comes to God, he knows this, when it comes to going out and hanging out, a lot of people have FOMO, the fear of missing out. I have the fear of getting asked to go. Because I'd like to be on the couch with a glass of wine with my husband watching Netflix. That makes me very happy.
That's good. No, I agree. It's tough to say no in a lot of circumstances, especially, and I think that this does come back to being a woman more. If you are single and you don't have kids and you say no, people will look at you and be like, and why not? Why can't you do it? Whereas if Danielle is like, well, I have things I have to do. I have to take my kids to soccer. I have to do whatever. No one's ever going to question her on why she's not doing something. Even if she just doesn't feel like doing it, she'll never say, I just don't feel like doing it, But they won't question her on what's going on. Whereas the three of us, I have a feeling there's a lot more of, but why can't you do it?
Which I don't think is fair, because everybody has, even though I have children and yes, I run a household and blah, 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 everybody has their own story and everybody has their own life and their own challenges. So I think that they should take that into consideration as well, not just the fact that you don't have a family.
And we got very used to no, because you say no and then you feel like you have to give this reason why because you know people are questioning you. But like we said last year, no is a complete sentence and you don't ever have to tell people why you don't want to do it. Just say you don't want to do it and move on. With confidence, do it.
I definitely practice that specific part of it. Like I'll be sending an email and I'll be like, no, and here's why. And then I delete it, and then I write it again, and then I delete it. And most of the time I end up sending it with no explanation. And that is so empowering and it feels so good. And I think once you realize you can do that, and, you know, in my head sometimes the consequences are going to be so catastrophic, and you realize all that happened was is you set a boundary, it was respected, and life went on. And I was like, whoa, that feels good. I want to do it again, you know? And I just think it comes with, practice and experience and realizing that your voice matters. And that's how you get these people in these positions of power to respect you and respect your boundaries just by taking a chance.
Without a doubt.
And I want to expand on, Gandhi, what you said about like single women saying no, because that is so true. When a single woman says no to something, you do question like, well, what better else things do you have to do, okay?
You can't have a life.
But we don't think about that when it comes to single men.
No, of course
not.
not.
At all. We think like, oh, well, they must be busy. They must be doing something else if they can't.
Well, except for Scary, because he's told us he goes home and goes to sleep.
Goes home and rots.
He has said that. That is exactly what he says.
I believe Scary doesn't know that the word no exists. I feel like he never says no.
He does not. He just,
You're right. They don't question men as much. And this isn't like a, oh, woe is us. We're
No.
so sad as women. But there are just some standard differences when it comes to things. You know, we were joking around one day talking about how if a woman has to miss a lot of work for their kids, people they don't applaud it. People get very upset and they're like, oh, here she goes again. This is why it's hard to have a mom work here, blah, blah,
Scary
blah.
says that. What do you have, muffins with mom again? I was like, that's right, I do.
How many times do you have to miss work for your kid? But when a dad misses work for their child, people are like, oh, what a good father. That's amazing. He's leaving to go do donuts with daddy or whatever. And there is just kind of a difference there in general. And a lot of people said, that's not true. That's absolutely not true.
That is so true.
Very
so
true.
Yes,
I've seen it happen
100%.
here 100 times. Like it absolutely happens. So it is kind of tough being a single woman navigating the workspace and saying no. But you got to do it.
Yep.
You have to do it.
Everyone has. Sometimes you just need that mental break.
Oh, yeah.
And that, you know, there's just, I have to, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm looking at my schedule for the week and I have something every day, on Sunday night, like the anxiety starts to set in, like, oh my gosh, I got to do my hair and makeup every single day, and I got to do this, and I got to go run here, and then I got to come home, and I got to do this, and I got to do that, and I go, where am I getting a break? Where am I going to sit down? It just overwhelms me.
You just said I have to do my hair and makeup every day.
I can't stand it. These cameras.
Okay, it takes us an hour for our hair, an hour for our makeup.
Out of
And
control.
people that, you know, you come to work without it and they're, are you okay? Are you
my
sick?
God. Oh, yeah.
Are you tired?
feel
Like,
okay?
no. And it's, you know, today I've grown. Last year I put on my falsies, and this year, like, I'm not gonna put the false lashes, like, whatever. But that's something that, fellas, you don't really think about.
Right.
It's those extra times
Yeah.
that we put in. And sure, like, we can come in barefaced, but then you're gonna make it seem like we're sick or something,
Right.
or think that we're sick. And then you know Crystal next to me is wearing the falsies and I'm not, so now I feel like I'm competing, and I feel like she put extra work in to look good and not. So it is those extra seconds that really, really make a difference. And
Yeah.
I know that some people think it doesn't really matter, but it really does, because appearance for women matters so much more. A guy can put on a sweatsuit and be like, oh yeah, he has it together. But if a woman does that, you know, on a panel or something, it's like, oh dang, she didn't try today. She doesn't care.
Right.
That kind of pressure that is either put on us or we put on ourselves, or it's both. I mean, I think it's definitely coming from all angles, is really scary. And it's actually a cause for, you know, all these mental health struggles that all of us are experiencing, not just as women. Obviously, everybody of every gender experience is mental health struggles. So I think for me, what I've learned to do is like risk versus reward, in the sense, and I don't know if I'm applying that to this, what I'm about to say, but that just kind of popped into my head. But it's more like, what's the benefit for me? Is it worth it for me? And sort of weighing out the positives and the negatives. And if I say no to this, that I can't do it, am I going to lose out on something? If not, I got to say no. I mean, like, because again, everybody was saying if you do it and you're mentally drained and mentally spent, the product or whatever it is you're doing is not going to come out good anyway. So I think it's just really deciding what prioritizing. It's important.
Yeah.
There's a lot more that I care about that's so much deeper than that. We talk all the time, don't judge a book by its cover. And then we spend so much time worrying about everyone judging our cover, but doesn't matter. I mean, my mom said once that everybody is like fruit, and it's not about what you look like because everyone will dry up. So what is the flavor that you leave behind?
Right.
And I try really hard to think about the flavor and not just always focus on, oh my God, what do I look like? How do I, because you know what? Whenever we see ourselves, we're like, damn.
Yeah.
That was a terrible angle.
Yeah.
This is awful. But there's just so much more to all of us. And we are in a personality-based business.
When you, let's say you put on like this cute outfit, you look so amazing. Like you really feel good. Like I'm feeling myself. Like today's a good day, right? And you get all the validation you're looking for. And everyone comes up to you and says, you look so pretty. I love your outfit. And then you go home and you got the validation and you still feel like crap. So I think when you have those kinds of experiences, you start to realize all the validation in the world and all the positive comments are not going to change what's going on inside. And I think that's when we have to take accountability and really look within and say, what's really going to make me happy? And as we all work on ourselves, I think that idea of happiness becomes a lot clearer. And just to speak about Gandhi and the judgmental thing, listen, first of all, hurt people. And when you're criticizing me and commenting about the way that I look or my size, you are clearly projecting what you feel about yourself. And I've actually challenged myself and tried to like not filter photos and be like, this is exactly what I look like. You can see every freckle on my face. And to be honest with you, it's really empowering just for myself. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and be like, I post the grossest picture of myself and I'm so confident.
Well,
no,
who would do that?
No, of course. Like we all want to look good. We want to feel good. But yeah, it does feel really good to post like that unfiltered photo. And I'm like, I'm cool with this. I like it.
This is what I tell my kids all the time. Like I always tell them, like if someone says something nasty to you, it's not, you feel bad for them. I said, I know it's not easy, but something inside of them is a struggle. Yeah. And whatever it is, they're going through it. And we may not know what it is. We may never know what it is. But they're going through something because no one would just pick on you or make fun of you or make you feel bad on purpose. Yeah. I don't believe people are like that. So there's something there. So try to feel bad for them. And my kid's like, really, Mom? I'm like, I know. It's not easy, but just try to take it from that perspective.
But that's empathy. Empathy, I think, is the cure all for everything. Like when you can put yourself in somebody else's shoes just for 1 second, no matter how hurt you are, no matter how mad you are, you start to realize that, oh, they're in pain just like you're in pain. Yeah. And again, it doesn't always work and you get upset and you get mad. But
every now and then you have to clap back.
Yeah. Every now and then. A good clapback feels amazing. Yeah, of course. But I think empathy is a super helpful tool.
Yeah. And we're seeing a lot more celebrities and people that are big influences. For example, Selena Gomez. Recently, she posted like a very unfiltered photo of herself. We see Lady Gaga doing it as well. And even though some people might think, okay, who cares? It's just like a filterless selfie. Yeah. It really did. When I saw Selena Gomez post that, I was like, dang, maybe I could post one of those too. Like, we forget how much influence people that are stepping outside of boundaries and really doing something for themselves can really impact us. Yeah. And I think this is a great conversation to have about, like you were saying, Shelly, like hurt people, and just reflecting on that in ourselves, like knowing, like, do I really have to make that comment about someone? Mm-hmm. Maybe I am questioning if they're pregnant or not, but do I really need to post that to let them know that? Right. It really does hurt people so much. And I think that if we just talk about it a little more and are aware of it more, that it could help, because the internet can be a really dark and twisted place for people that have a lot of followers and just that don't. And I think if we talk about it and are more empathetic about it, like we were all saying, it could help. We can really push these ideas to a more positive place.
This is why I got excited when Jax put out the Victoria's Secret song, because I was just like, yeah, she's pulling the blanket off of what's really going on, and that, hey, Victoria's Secret is not exactly what you need to look like, and it's not what you think. And now, we were talking about this morning on the show, the Victoria's Secret fashion show, which you haven't seen in a while, is coming back. It's being revamped. Oh, wow. It's not going to be what we're used to, and we're hoping that it's going to involve not just, thin people, but people of all shapes and sizes. Mm-hmm. And Gandhi and I are hoping there's jeans involved and sweatshirts.
Sweatpants.
Sweatpants. And I think that would be awesome. So I'm actually excited to see what they come up with now and to see if it's something that we can get excited
Me
about.
too. And you know who I think was a trailblazer in this?
Rihanna.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rihanna was the one. I feel like she was the person that came out like, you guys are missing a giant section of the community, of the people that we speak to, who look up to us.
Yeah.
And now she's a billionaire for doing it. So I love you.
Yeah.
And a mom.
I love her
As
so
sad
much.
as it is to say, she took a risk by incorporating bigger sized women in her shows, bigger sized men, men and women of all different colors, races, backgrounds. She has set the standard. She is I'm getting chills because I cannot, I'm so grateful to this woman for really making it okay, and accepting all people from all walks of life. And she even did it when she was pregnant, walking around with her big belly showing. She may be the first celebrity who's ever showed us her post-pregnancy body. She didn't hide in her house. She came out wearing whatever she wanted at whatever size she was. And I don't know her. I never met her, but I'm so grateful for her because she's really,
What about women being discriminated in the office? I know we all took that online course where and they have those bad actors where if you see somebody getting discriminated against or getting hit on and they're not,
Hey, baby,
have
you're
you-
looking hot.
Exactly. Have you ever been in that situation or have you ever seen it happen and had to actually intervene and do something?
I think when it comes to the discrimination, we really just covered so much of that when it comes to the inequity between men and women in the workplace, giving birth and all that kind of stuff. As far as the sexual harassment side of things go, if that's what you're referring to, have we all seen it? I think so. I think all of us have been part of it, have witnessed it happen, and I think only until very recently was it, to me, something that was absurd.
Yeah.
Because when you start as a teenager in this business and that's just how people talk to you and that's just the atmosphere and it's, we're entertainment, this is how it goes, you kind of just say, okay, I accept that for what that is. That's the way it is, then that's the way it is. But it's not, and it took a really long time for people to sort of get to the place where they said, I'm putting my foot down, and I don't want to deal with that stuff anymore. Don't comment on my butt when I walk away.
Right.
Don't comment on what I look like when I come in. I mean, on the flip side of that, do I want you to tell me if I look nice? Yeah, maybe. But
Do that more, please.
Yeah. But, it's definitely a thing that we've all seen, and I think it's changing a lot. I really hope it's changing a lot. It feels like it is. But again, we're in this amazing bubble here.
Yeah.
So I'd like to go back to the other places I worked and see how it is there.
But there have been times where I've saw somebody say something and I'd have to say, dude, don't say that to her.
It's
That's not
usually
nice.
me.
That's not nice.
I'm the one harassing.
I'm like, that's not nice. I'm like, I don't think she wants you to say that to her, And sometimes it works and sometimes they just give you that look mind your business. It's crazy.
I think it's important, for me, when I'm in conversations with people, obviously we've seen it. It's been done to us. Well, I'll speak for myself. It's been done to me. But when I'm having conversations with people and they're talking about another woman, let's say, and they're making comments, I think it's my responsibility to say, hey, here's why that's uncomfortable, or here's why that's probably not the coolest thing that you should say. So I think as the situations arise, really addressing it head on and doing it with compassion and understanding and love and not being like, you're a jerk and you're disgusting. Obviously the second you say that, you lose the person's attention that you're talking to. But I think, dealing with it in the moment in the best, most rational way that you possibly can, and just being like, that's not cool. Oh, okay, I didn't know. Got it.
Right.
So true.
I thought a ghost was coming in the
what's
room.
that?
Door locked.
I had a great conversation with an artist who play Ray, and she spoke about how women in the industry don't get enough credit. They don't even get their names spoken about. And that's a huge issue that I've been having, that I feel like our names are so important, and giving the credit where credit is due. If we're talking about something that went viral, why don't you just bring up the name of the woman whose podcast it is to talk about that and to give them that credit? I talked about it last year as well when we were having our discussion about how I'll be in a room with my partner who's a man, and someone will come in and not even acknowledge me. They'll just automatically start asking him the questions, if it's only his show.
Yeah.
When it's literally our show. And I've been told, it's supposed to be a partnership, but people around us don't feel that way. And it's so frustrating. That's what I mean, that we're going to continue to talk about it and continue to make our names and our voices heard. And I don't care if you think I'm complaining about the same thing over and over again. I will.
Right.
For the other women that we're bringing up until we actually see change. And you know what? If that means that I'm going to have to make the extra effort to get up and reintroduce myself again and again when no one else will, I'll do it, because I deserve that.
Right.
We all worked so hard to be here, and we're not going to let anyone diminish our hard work or diminish the credit we deserve or diminish our names.
I've had actually women do that. Like I've had some women guests, I'm not going to say their names, in the past where they've walked into the room and they don't even acknowledge the other women. They just talk to the guys. And they're like the guy's best friend type of a thing. And the girl, whatever we say to them, doesn't even matter. Or I was having a conversation with them, and then as soon as a guy walked in the room, it was like I wasn't even there.
Yeah.
I was like, we were just...
Danielle and I will give each other that look like, did you see it?
Yeah.
I just saw it.
It's
Oh my
like,
God, we just got
really?
ignored. Okay.
Yeah.
And you know what? That goes back to the secure thing about your own self-confidence. And you can easily tell when someone walks in, like where it's at. And I just feel like if we continue to empower each other and tell each other we rock and we're the best, we can really go a long way with that. It is really, really tough when we see other women doing that to us, but we need to really make that extra effort. Like if they're going low, like we just got to keep, even though it's tough, even though it's a struggle, even though our egos don't want us to, we have to continue to be the bigger person, because maybe it'll change their hearts.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Lead by example.
What about calling out the women on their bull-ish too, and being like, "Hey, can I talk to you? This is how you made me feel." Like,
Yeah.
I think it's important. It's all part of the empowering
Yeah.
feeling
Yeah.
or the empowering notion that we're talking about right now. Like, call them out. You have to let people know, because maybe they've just always operated like that and they didn't know they were hurting somebody's feelings, or they didn't know how rude it was coming off. They had no idea, so you got to call them out.
We have to say goodbye to Crystal right now. She actually has some place to be.
Remember about saying no? Yeah, I'm still working on saying no to things. I would rather be here with you ladies and continue the conversation. Thank you so much, Danielle.
Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you so much, Gandhi.
You're so welcome. It's sad that we're losing you right now.
Thank you so much, Shelly. I
Love you.
appreciate that. And yeah, I will be back.
She'll be back.
Go be great.
Love you.
Love you. Going back to what you were just saying, Shelly, though, like, I feel like even my mom says it. Like, if you see a woman wearing a cute shirt, or if you see a woman who, like, her hair is awesome, tell them, make them feel good. Like, we don't, like, there's no reason we can't compliment each other or raise each other up and stuff like that. Like, women who are like, oh, that woman looks better than me, and I'm not going to say anything. Who cares? Dude, your hair looks fantastic today. Or, those shoes are awesome. Like, because you just don't even know if maybe they were having the crappiest day of their lives, and that tiny little thing that you said makes them feel super fantastic. The person who I think is best at this is Kelly Clarkson. She will come into an area, and before she leaves, she will find something positive about each person and say it, and point at them and go, wow, your hair, I think for me, she said, your hair color matches your eyes so well. Like, someone had a shirt on. She like, oh my gosh, that shirt is so cool. She found something nice to say to everybody. And it was just such a fantastic thing to do, Seriously.
I think people are sometimes like, why are you so fake? You don't even know me. You're going to just come in and like say all these nice things about me. But I think you can tell the difference between someone who's being really genuine and just really kind and who's engaging and trying to lift you up, and someone who's just doing it for either personal gain or because they're uncomfortable, or, they think they can get something out of you. I think you can tell like the real from the fake. And I don't know, for me, it feels really great knowing that I made someone feel good. I think that's the positive about it for me.
Absolutely. And I've been trying really hard lately to try and compliment people on things that are not just, hey, your hair's awesome, your clothes are great, like something that's not aesthetically pleasing. So, the way that you presented that thought, Shelly, was so intelligent and so strong. It makes me want to hear more from you.
You never say that to me.
Danielle, the way you presented that thought was so powerful. But I think that it's important to compliment people on things that are not just what you're looking at, but things that are about who they are as a person.
Yes.
That joke was really funny. I thought about this. You made me feel good when you said this. There's all kinds of ways that you can do it. And I actually have like a whole list of them that I keep in my phone, which is what I was looking for when you guys were talking, because they're great. And I think that we can all do a little bit more of that as well.
I think that's important for the younger generation too. This was just in a book that I was reading, where the dad said, instead of telling his daughter every day, you look so pretty, or oh my gosh, your hair looks so great, or whatever, he would compliment her in other ways, like you were saying, like, wow, that made so much sense, you sounded so smart just now, like that's a wonderful statement, or how you treated that little kid at school today, or your friend, that is so wonderful, that's how we should treat each other, like little things like that, instead of making them feel that looks were the most important important thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My dad, bless him so much for this, and my mom as well. My mom did a little more than my dad, but my dad never told my sister or I, you guys are so pretty, you're so beautiful, nothing like that. But it was always, you are the fiercest kid I've ever met. You're so tough. You are a rough and tumble kid. Like, you can do anything you want to do all the time. That was what he planted in my brain. My dad thinks I'm so fierce. My dad thinks I'm so tough. I must be fierce and tough. And it really stuck with me throughout my whole life. And I feel like those are qualities that I want to have and I strive to have because he kind of planted that. And I love him for that.
And I totally agree with that. I think it's changing our value system. Like what are our values? What do we value most? Because if you think when I'm looking at a comment or something, the first reaction is to comment on the way somebody looks. But I've stopped myself. I'm like, no, I don't want this person to think that that's the first thing that I'm seeing. Like a woman walks into a room and you say, oh my God, you look so good. You lost so much weight. I'm like, I would never say that to somebody now. I
always
know.
say you smell nice.
Smell nice. People love to hear
smell.
that. But you don't know what my comment is going to do to that person. We don't know what they're dealing with, what they're going through. So I think it's really, and also us, we want to hear we're so beautiful, right? Like Gandhi, you were very lucky that your parents instilled those really important values in you. But I mean, growing up, it was always like, are you the prettiest? Are you the thinnest? Are you the most likable? It's like that was what was made important, and I think that has to change, and that starts with us.
I was reading Melanie C's book. I think I told Gandhi this, and I actually went on Instagram into her DMs and said to her, because of what she said in her book. So she said in her book, Mel C's one of the Spice Girls. She was Sporty Spice. People would see her and be like, "Oh my gosh, you look so great. You're so skinny," or they'd say to her, this is Mel C. She's the quiet one. So reading her book, she would say, well, you want to know why I was the quiet one? Because they told me not to talk. They told me that I probably am not going to make a lot of sense, so don't say anything. Or why was I the skinny one? Well, I had an eating disorder. So when people were telling me I look so fantastic. So like you said, a lot of times we don't know what's going on behind the scenes and what's a trigger for people. So it actually made me rethink how I do my entertainment stories, because I don't want to come across in a way where maybe, me talking about, a certain thing, it might mean something else to them that I'm not there, like I don't understand. So I went into Mel C's DMs and apologized to her.
Did she write back?
And I say, I don't, you know what? I don't even know. I have to check. But I said, I've been here a long time. We interviewed you guys when you first came to the station. I've always tried to be a kind person. I've always tried to never say anything wrong. But I'm sure I probably called you the quiet one at one time or something like that. And I want to apologize because I never meant anything and nothing negative. And I am so sorry if it ever made you feel that way. And, maybe she'll read it. Maybe she won't. But I just felt like, it really made me rethink a lot of things.
Well, the more you learn, the more you know how to navigate, and the more that you want to sort of what you want to hear, you start telling other people. So I think that's so amazing of you. I think that you even took the time because it felt right to you. I think that's just a huge lesson for all of us.
And it goes back to your point about calling each other out on things that you don't like or the boundaries that you do want to set. And, I know nobody's going to say, hey, don't tell me I'm pretty. No one's ever going to say that. Of course, that's a nice compliment and you want to hear that. But there are other ways that you can start to shape the way people deal with you and talk to you by shaping the way you deal with yourself, talk to yourself, and talk to others.
Yeah, it starts with us. Guys, it really does.
Be the change you wish to see in the world.
Exactly.
Exactly.
The big one, not me.
All right, before we get out of here, because our time's almost up, if you had to put one message out there for International Women's Day, what would it be, Gandhi?
Be yourself. There's nobody else you should try to be. Everybody else is taken. There's a place for you in the world. All of your quirks, all of the things that are weird about you. If somebody tells you they don't like it, somebody else will like it. So just live your life the way you want to live it, because you are the only person you spend 24/7 with.
Nice. Shelley?
Perfectionism is a disease. It's not something to strive for. It's something to fight against because it doesn't exist, and you will be constantly setting yourself up for failure, disappointment, hurt, and just be really kind to yourself, because people are cruel in this world, and it's really important that you put yourself first and you take care of yourself. And obviously the way you treat yourself is the way you're going to treat other people. So if you want to be a better person, it starts with you.
Yes.
Yep.
And I would just say treat people with kindness, because kindness really goes a long way, no matter who you are or if you're like President of the United States or someone cleaning someone's toilet. It doesn't matter. We're all people. We all are born the same way. You know, we all come into the world the same way. And it's just important to be kind, especially nowadays, the way the world is. We all know what's going on out there. We hear the news every single day. Kindness goes a long way. If you see somebody for the first time in the morning, say, hey, good morning, how are you? Are you having a great day? If you know, you want them to reciprocate that. So it's just important. So put kindness into the world and you will get it back. And with that, ladies, Shelley, Gandhi, and Crystal, who's no longer sitting in her chair, thank you for joining us for International Women's Day. This is Z100.
From the top of the Empire State Building.
Z100 New York.